Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of What You Should Be Watching with me, Brad Fitzpatrick, and my very beautiful co-host, Zach Washburn, the movie Messiah. So hi, Zach.
Hi, Zach.
Now, I'm going to be truthful with you. We did this last night, but none of my recording worked, so we're going to do it again. It's not going to be as good, but we're going to try.
Don't tell him that.
Oh,
It's
well,
going
I
to
mean,
be
come
better.
on. Now I have to try to remember everything that I said last night. I'm not going to be able to do that because I'm awful. But today we're going to be doing animated superhero movies. Top 5. Some of them are going to be great. We're going to have lots of conversations to talk about. Specifically you, Zircon, if you're out there. I know you're going to be watching this. Leave your comments. Okay? And the main reason why we decided to do this is because I went and saw Spider-Man. I thought it would be a good opportunity to talk about that as well. So, without further ado, let's get started. Zach, what is your number 5 animated comic book movie?
Yes, and to reiterate, like I said in the last video, which no one gets to see, all of mine will be DC. I have actually never seen an animated Marvel. I'm sure there's a few good out there, but as everyone knows, DC rules the animated market. They may not in the live action versions, but the animated they do. So, number 5 is Justice League, The Flashpoint Paradox.
Now, Flashpoint, was and still is one of the greatest Flash comic book stories of all time, which you can't have any sort of adaptation with Flash unless you have the paradox, Flashpoint Paradox at all.
That's
have
great.
to have
Love the storyline. I've always loved the stories in DC with the different types of alternate universes and time travel and everything. This was a really good one.
No, I mean, there was rumors after the Justice League movie was out. Well, it may not be rumors, but like just lots of speculation that they were going to be doing a Flash movie with from the Flash of the movie, and they were going to bring back Thomas Wayne and Martha Wayne to play their respective Flashpoint roles.
Yeah,
which I think would be great because Thomas Wayne,
Yeah.
he was Batman, but he wasn't Batman.
exactly.
As we all
in,
know.
in theory, I'm sure it would be good, but I'm sure they'll find a way to screw it up.
Well, I mean, yeah. Obviously. But still, Flashpoint Paradox is still a great choice. It's one of my favorite Flash stories of all time. And honestly, I don't think there's any other really iconic Flash storyline besides that one.
Yeah, no, it's great, and it's not necessarily because it's the Flash. It's just the storyline in general is why I picked it to be my number 5. I loved it. It was great.
Well, I mean, it's a good choice. So on to your number 4. What is your number 4 animated superhero movie?
Number 4 is my Superman Batman crossover, and it is Public Enemies.
Public Enemies. In my opinion, we could have literally done away with Batman versus Superman live action and just put that movie up.
It would have been great.
It would have been perfect. I mean,
Yeah.
really.
That's the way it would have been. It should have been. I mean, Lex Luthor as president. I mean, them fighting everybody. It was great. Another great story. And of
Right.
course, you have the the original voice actors of Kevin Conroy, Tim Daly, and Clancy Brown as Lex Luthor. Awesome.
Right. I mean, Kevin Conroy is Batman. He is.
The quintessential
Right.
Batman. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to discuss this again.
You're very
'Cause we did
welcome.
discuss this in the last video, everybody. But everyone is always asking me, who's your favorite Batman? And I'll say Kevin Conroy. And they're like, who? And not only do I want to punch them in the face, but I have to explain to them, he's the guy that does the animated voice. And it's like, well, is he really Batman? Yes,
Yeah.
he really is Batman. Just like you would say Mark Hamill is the only Joker. I mean, you may not see their face, but it doesn't matter. The voice is everything.
I mean, exactly. Like Kevin Conroy is and will forever be my Batman.
Me too.
Yeah, like it doesn't really matter what anybody else says. Yeah, Christian Bale was okay.
No, he wasn't.
Well, okay,
Like
yeah.
I said, Brad, voice is everything, and
Right,
his
right.
was horrible.
Okay. So, I mean, like, really, like, well, then, what is your favorite live action Batman? Then, obviously, Kevin Conroy is Batman, but out of the live action ones, which one have you liked the most?
Um, I guess I'd go old school because I grew up with it. I mean, Michael Keaton, I thought was really good. You know what? I'd have to say second, even though I really don't like the franchise. Ben Affleck I thought he did really well as Batman. I
Uh,
know everyone was all butthurt about it when they first cast him, but he was not the worst casting choice.
yeah,
And
I 100% agree. I really loved Ben Affleck as Batman. When it comes to Batman and not pretty much any other superheroes, which is kind of weird, is that you have to realize that Batman and Bruce Wayne are two completely different people.
yeah, no,
Hands down.
exactly.
Batman is the real person, while Bruce Wayne is the persona.
That's
You
right.
know.
And Kevin Conroy has said that, and he's one of the only people that actually got it. That he once said that you know Batman's mask, that's not the mask he's wearing. That is him. But Bruce Wayne is the mask. And yeah, and I know you have said previously that Ben Affleck, got that as well. I think, and you could tell like he's acting like Bruce Wayne, but when he's Batman, that's him.
Yeah. I mean, like you could just tell just the way he moves, the way he talks, and everything. I mean, a person's more relaxed in being who they are than who they're trying to be, and it's always evident. And I think Ben Affleck really nailed that in the pictures. I would have loved to have seen an actual standalone Ben Affleck Batman movie, but we may never see it.
I know.
So,
Can he still lay off the sauce?
and that's the sad part is because like when you said you need to lay off the sauce, my immediate humor was like he likes gravy.
No, Prego.
Yeah,
Prego.
yeah,
Yeah.
Prego. Yeah, I mean, obviously. But okay, on to number three. What is your number three top superhero movie?
My number three is the first standalone Batman story, and it is the Under the Red Hood.
Yes, and I mean, honestly, and the saddest part is that I'm glad that we get to discuss this again because movies like this deserve a second telling.
Even though no one got to see the first telling,
Right.
but I agree. Yes.
Because I mean, we get to gush on our favorite characters again. I mean, Jason Todd.
Great story.
Great
character.
story.
Yeah,
One
great
of
story.
the
You have the Joker, beating him to death with the crowbar.
Yeah, which has been iconic in the Batman universe. Batman, honestly, if we really think about it, the Batman comics has more iconic storylines than any other comics out there.
I agree.
I mean, really.
He's my favorite. He's my favorite DC superhero.
I mean, and if you take into realization that, like, yeah, there are lots of superheroes out there, and yeah, people like superhero teams, but Batman's the only standalone character that everyone knows. Flat.
That's true. Yeah.
I
mean, he's one of those. He's one of those figures that, from day one when you're born, you know who Batman is, just like Santa Claus or
yeah,
Superman, anybody else.
And I mean, really, what would you think that is? I mean, like, why do you think that we're so in love with Batman? I know there are Batman fanboys out there that are like, oh, well, Batman can beat everybody, but what do you think that the love for Batman is as prolific as it is?
I think because he was the most human character as far as his backstory and his tragedy. His superpower was, of course, his mind. He was very, very smart and a great detective. Of course, his money helped, and I think so. People, when they think about superheroes, are like they can't be Superman because he has superpowers, and that's unreal. But they could actually be Batman if they were a billionaire and could make that stuff and were smart. So I think that has a lot to do with it. Also, the fanboys. I'm actually one of them. Batman, he can beat anybody. I mean, they make it where even though he is vulnerable as a human, he can still take you down. Even Superman, depending on the comic book and the storyline.
Oh yeah, I mean, there was a what, Batman versus the Justice League storyline where
Yes.
Ra's al Ghul I can't remember. He grabs somebody and starts to kill them unless he takes out the entire Justice League, and Batman does it.
Yeah.
Like, because Batman, with enough planning, cannot be beaten.
Right.
Now, if he doesn't have any planning, yes, he can be beaten. But if he has enough planning, I highly doubt that Batman can ever be beaten. Which is
But he always has enough planning.
right. Which okay, so I'm gonna bring this back to Batman versus Superman. Even though it was not the greatest movie, we can all agree to that. The part in it where at the very end where they're fighting,
Yeah.
right, and you see all the planning go into place where Batman is done for that last fight, even to the point to where he takes the kryptonite spear and he puts it where it does at the very beginning of the fight, before the fight even happens, and then they end up right there. Shows that even the writer there and the director knew that Batman was smart enough to realize that after all this fight, we are going to end up right here.
Yeah.
And that shows. And that's the only greatest part of that movie, in my opinion, is that part. That part alone is probably worth the entire movie. I mean, the movie itself is not great, but that part alone makes it worth watching because it's true. Batman understands what he's going into. Batman understands what he should be doing, and he breaks down every bit of his plan to where it's almost methodical. And because of that, he can't lose.
Yeah, it's great. And the something else, I'm glad we got to do this again, actually, because I wanted to mention this, but I felt that it wouldn't be right to put it on the top 5 movie list because it wasn't necessarily a movie. They re-released it as a movie, but the Batman Superman animated movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, those were actually that was actually part of the Superman animated series, and then they re-released it as a movie. That actually might have been my top one, but I really liked the writing in that one too, and the way they really show how Batman, got one over on Superman and how he found out who he was and stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, but still, that was your number 3. Great movie, great choice. Probably one of the better ones. I mean, Red Hood is fantastic. Jason Todd makes it, and even the realization in that he is Jason Todd is really depicting of how human Batman can really be.
I really enjoyed the voice acting in those too. That was the first movie that came out after they had done with the original voice actors, some of the movies with Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill, and I enjoyed the voice actors more than I did the guy that plays the Joker. I forget his name. I should have done my research since I knew I was going to do this. But he's the guy that is most famous for doing the voice of Bender in Futurama. Yeah,
right.
Anyway, I thought he did really good. It was a different take on the Joker, and I really liked it. But.
Did you? I don't know if you've heard the rumors, but I don't even know if it's rumors, but speculation again. They want to make a Red Hood movie, but using Jensen Ackles from Supernatural to play Jason Todd.
I can see that.
So much so that he himself, last Halloween, made an entire cosplay outfit of the Red Hood from that movie.
Nice.
And it was like perfect.
But it shows he's dedicated at least.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All right. Well, number 2. What is your number 2 top superhero animated movie?
My number 2 is a classic. In fact, it's the very first DC animated movie. I'm not sure if it's the very first superhero animated movie, but I know it's the first one by DC. Right after the success of the Batman animated series came the first movie, Mask of the Phantasm.
There you go. That's old school, love. I just will call it love. It is.
Yeah.
It's nostalgic love.
It is very nostalgic. It's it was dark. It was gritty. It was very adult themed for an animated movie. Even more so than the show. And the soundtrack, I think, is what made the movie by Shirley Walker. The very first opening title sequence with the melodic kind of opera-themed Batman theme that we all know and love was amazing.
Well, I mean, they tried to upscale it because they knew it was a cartoon, but they wanted people to realize that, no, this isn't just a 30-minute show. This is a full-length movie with everything that we wanted to say in the show, but we really couldn't. But now we can.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
You know,
And I love that original take they had on the origin story of how Bruce Wayne started out and everything, and the a little bit of a backstory on the Joker and how he was in that gang and everything.
Oh yeah.
It was really good.
You know, like I compared it last time as like drinking hot cocoa, the nostalgic
Yeah.
feeling of having the warmth from our childhood, but drinking it with a little bit of whiskey.
Little shot of bourbon.
Right,
Yeah.
because we're older now. We're older now, and we need that. But it's still
Yeah.
the same warm, loving feeling from way back then. The
Absolutely.
movie is fantastic. One of the best, even as you said, earliest adaptations for a DC animated Batman movie, and still holds true to this day, and never loses its feeling, ever,
Oh, I watch it all the time.
always.
Yeah.
All right, number one. What's your number one animated?
Number
superhero?
one is my most favorite, if that's proper English. The I love the Batman Beyond series, and the first movie they did was the Return of the Joker.
Batman Beyond. Like, okay, how do you go from having a, like, what? How many Grammys did the original animated show get over
I
the
know,
years? A lot
Yeah.
for everything. Like, I think it even won like Best Actor at one point in time. But and went to Batman Beyond, which not only held the same feel but accelerated everything that was the original to what it was.
It was great.
I mean, there's not any cartoons or comics out there or anything like that really reaches that same ramping momentum that was
Yeah.
Batman Beyond.
Right.
You know, and Terry McGinnis. I mean, like, it was a great take on the whole Batman universe.
Yeah, they had great stories. It was a chance for them to introduce some new villains, some new storylines, and even a few episodes had some old villains. It was great. But you never got to see the Joker, because supposedly he had died. It had been a long time. But then they came out with this movie because everybody misses Mark Hamill. They want to see some more Joker, so they came out with this great concept, and Mark Hamill returned as the Joker. And it was great. It's also one of my. I know the Joker has many laughs. You can go on YouTube and you can actually find montages of different Joker laughs that he's done. This has got to be my favorite Joker laugh, and it's the part where he goes down into the Batcave, and he's got the old Bruce Wayne there, and he gets down. And he knows who he is. He knows who he is as Bruce Wayne and Batman, and he just has this. It's almost like a smoker's cough laugh that he does. It's very creepy. He has this creepy smile. Definitely one of my favorite scenes.
I mean, I talked about this before. My favorite Batman Beyond moment, which is very defining of Batman, is the moment where they rehashed Scarecrow.
Yes.
And used his fear gas to try to make Bruce Wayne, who's an older Bruce Wayne now, obviously, go crazy, to make him seem crazy, And in his head, everybody's just calling him Bruce Wayne, like, oh, Bruce Wayne, Bruce, this is your fault, you've done all this. And so he acts crazy to lots of people who are watching him, But in the end, he stops the villain. And Terry McGinnis is like, well, how did you know that you weren't going crazy? And he's like, I don't call myself Bruce Wayne.
Right.
That's
how you knew.
It's still like that scene alone, to me, personifies exactly who Batman is. Kind of like what we said earlier about Batman being the person. Bruce Wayne is the acting.
Yeah.
Like, completely. And I mean, Batman Beyond got it. Completely. He never stopped being Batman, even in his 90s when he couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
I would love to see a live action Batman Beyond movie.
Yeah, I've talked about that before. I just don't know how they could do it right, especially if they make it in the same universe as the crap they put out.
Oh, no. They'd have to do it because it'd have to be, further ahead in the future,
Yeah.
But I mean, they could obviously do it. Just they'd have to, do it right. I'd bring back Michael Keaton and put him as Bruce Wayne. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I would do.
That would be awesome. I would have no problem with that. Yeah.
So you had lots of really good choices, really good top fives. I know the choices were hard because DC did come out with a lot of great animated movies within the last couple of years. Specifically, all the superhero movies have just spiked up in their popularity across the board for both Marvel and DC. With honorable mentions like The Dark Knight Returns, which was really good, which is supposedly the reason why Batman Beyond's Joker was not alive, because Batman killed him.
Right.
But we're going to get on to my top five. And this time I do have a list, thanks to Zach, because I forgot my entire top five.
Because I actually listened.
He did.
Listened to Brad.
He did. He did listen to me, which was fantastic. It shows that you love me, Zach. And I love you too.
Wholeheartedly.
All right. Well, my number five is actually going to be Marvel. He took a lot of the DC, a lot of the good DC ones. So I tried to switch up my top five a little bit because we had a lot of the same ones in the same top five. So specifically, my number five is Hulk versus Wolverine. And not so much because I am a Hulk fan or a Wolverine fan, but because Deadpool is in it.
Right.
And Deadpool in any show, movie, iteration, comic makes everything amazing, specifically when they get the character right. And I think that I felt like Hulk versus Wolverine really kind of got the character right in that regard. Even in the short span that he was there, they really managed to be like, oh, Deadpool, awesome. And it keeps your attention every single scene that he's in.
Yeah, and actually, after you described this movie last time, it is one I'd want to see. It sounds good.
Oh, it's fantastic. They have a 2-pack, and it's based on Hulk. Like they have a 2-pack that's out that's Hulk versus Thor and Hulk versus Wolverine. Because they're two different storylines.
Right.
But I'm not a big Hulk fan. I really haven't. I think I've tried to read some of the comics, but it really wasn't my what I've loved, and I really think that even though the newer Marvel comic book universe movies, they did good with Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk.
Yeah,
but I don't think I'm not even a big fan of the movies before then. They really I couldn't.
Yeah,
I couldn't really do it.
Yeah,
which is why Mark Ruffalo does not want to do a Hulk movie at all.
Right, and they've said that too. Well, there's just not a lot they can do with that character,
Yeah, honestly. Though I love the fact that he's a side character in it, so I want to see him be more in other movies beside his own.
Yes.
I want to see him pop up in Spider-Man, because most people don't realize that Spider-Man's kind of the linchpin between the entire Marvel comic universe. He knows everybody, and everybody knows him, but he's affiliated with no one.
Right. Yeah.
This
is true.
And what most people don't realize, Spider-Man is one of, 6, 7 people that has knocked the Hulk out cold.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Most people don't realize that Spider-Man in the comics is one of the strongest superheroes in the entire Marvel comic universe. Strength-wise, that's it. Just because they always downplay him, because they can't have to make him weak. If you noticed, they showed it in the last Avengers movie, which you saw, obviously, right?
Of course, yes.
When they're trying to take the gauntlet off Thanos, Spider-Man is the only one that's actually getting it off.
Yeah.
Barehanded, where you have Tony Stark's got all this stuff trying to push it off with his, boosters and not budging it. Spider-Man is just pulling it off. He's knocked Hulk out cold like that, and then he's also Hulk went on a rampage, and Spider-Man told S.H.I.E.L.D. just to get a box full of puppies, and they dropped a box full of puppies on Hulk. It's silly, and it's in the comic books, and it did work because it calmed the Hulk down enough to go back to Bruce Banner.
How funny.
Right? It's great. They probably would never do that in the movies, but that's a perfect adaptation between who Spider-Man is and who the Hulk is.
Yeah.
In reality. All right, but that's my number 5. My number 4, mind you, is also going to be going to DC. I had to have some DCs because, I mean, we're talking about animated movies, and as Zach said earlier, they dominate in the animated market.
Yes, sir.
Okay. My number 4 is Justice League Dark. It has one of my favorite DC characters of all time, which is Constantine. Constantine,
Yeah.
right now, played by Matt Ryan in the live-action adaptations and has been voicing Constantine in all the animated iterations as well, including this one. He has done such a fantastic job. Like, in my mind, he is Constantine.
Yeah, and he's one of the only ones who can pull off both. You know, doing animated and live action, because not a lot of people can.
Exactly. I mean, he nails the character so much. Not so much that, like, the look is there, but so is the actions and the thought processes and everything that makes Constantine Constantine. Matt Ryan gets, like, hands down. I don't think there could be anybody else in this entire world that could play Constantine as good as Matt Ryan has.
He's good, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I haven't seen the live action stuff like you told me he's in, but
Oh.
I do like the animated stuff. I like his character, and he does really well.
like they had a I can't remember which channel it was on. It was one of the mainstay channels, like ABC or NBC or something like that. They actually did a Constantine TV show, which was good, but they were held by a company that didn't know exactly what they were doing. And so it kind of failed there. So, like, the CW, who holds all the live-action DC universe, shows right now, swooped in and picked them up. But the problem is that the company still owned the rights to Constantine. So CW had to basically not pick up the show rights, but they were able to pick up the character rights. So Constantine doesn't have his own show anymore, but he's in the world playing on Legends of Tomorrow as Constantine. And he's doing a great job too. Like, but I want my Constantine show back. I want Matt Ryan in live action again.
Yeah,
as Constantine.
that would be good.
There is a funny part though in Justice League Dark, because Justice League Dark is all about the more non-mainstay superheroes, because they're not like super powered. They're more magical by nature. Batman is in it, obviously, because he's kind of like the head of Justice League Dark.
Yeah.
As well as Zatanna. What's his name? Like something Devil. Like, he's not a very good character because he doesn't really have so many powers, but he's like a ghost character.
Yes.
And then you have Dr. Fate, which is very heavy in it, as well as Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing's really good in it, which most people don't realize. Swamp Thing is a DC Universe character.
That's right.
Who had his own TV show for a long time ago.
Yeah, and the movie. Yeah,
right back when I was a baby. But there's a part in this movie that really still gets me. It's kind of funny, where Constantine and Batman and Zatanna are going to go meet another wizard that's dying. And so outside this dying wizard's house are Soul Reapers, basically.
Right.
And they're floating around. It's basically death. And like Constantine can see them. Like all the magicians can see them, but Batman can't.
Yeah.
But Batman can feel that they're there.
Right. I remember that. It was a great scene.
Right? And they like one of the Soul Reapers comes up to Batman's face and he's just like, boo, and scares death. Like really just scares them himself.
Yeah.
Which is a fantastic part. And so it's a great aspect of a movie that was fantastic.
Good. There's another good Batman moment too. Why he's so kick-ass.
I mean, really. Like, Batman can't you can't go wrong with Batman, honestly. All right, so my number 4, which I know you don't like this, or number 3, rather. I know you don't like this movie, Zach. We talked about it last time, but it's still in my number 3. Okay, Batman Killing Joke. Batman Killing Joke I liked because it really brought back, again, Kevin Conroy, Mark Hamill, to play their iconic roles as Batman and the Joker.
And that was the only redeeming quality of the movie. I was very excited to know that Mark Hamill was actually doing it again. And he's actually said that I'm done with Joker, I'm retired, unless you do the Killing Joke, and then I'll do it.
Yep.
And Yeah.
It's fantastic. And I told you before, if you had read the comic, specifically the Killing Joke comic, you would have understood specifically what the,
I
what the
know,
actual movie
and I
was
feel that
doing.
way about a lot of the movies. If I would have gotten the comics, maybe I'd understand more. But even some of the people who'd read the comic didn't like it because they had to throw in the love story crap with Batman and
Well,
Batwoman or
well,
Batgirl.
yes, I mean, but they thought it would add more drama, obviously, which it kind of did, but you're right. They could have left it out and just left the entire other bits, but you had to understand that Joker shot Batgirl in the spine, which is evident, which is like a turning point in Batgirl's entire superhero career,
Yes,
who finally makes her become Oracle, and is more prolific as Oracle to some than as Batgirl.
that's true.
And so I think that's the reason why they put that in there. And to add more levity to the reason why she got shot is because they wanted to add not even a really love story, because Batman doesn't love her.
No,
And she doesn't really love Batman. The entire thing is that they slept together and she's pregnant with his baby,
right.
even though she loves Dick Grayson. But he went missing.
Yeah,
He's in Bloodhaven right now, banging whoever else he wants. I think the writers of Nightwing was just like, you know what? With a man like Dick, we're going to give him as many women to sleep with as possible.
exactly. Like, we're going to quash this gay rumor once and for all for Robin.
Oh yeah, very much so. But okay, so that was my number 3. My number 2 is Teen Titans versus the Justice League, a
Yeah.
relatively newer animated movie.
Yeah,
from
they
the
kind
last
of
couple
started
years.
that with the son of Batman, and they kind of started that universe. And,
Yep.
with Damian Wayne, who I love that character and that story. But I have to agree with you. The Teen Titans vs. Justice League is probably my favorite movie of that particular
Yes.
universe.
Yeah, I like the new Teen Titans are really, really good, but this movie really kind of nails down just how useful the Teen Titans are and just what their abilities are.
Yes.
Most people would set them aside as sidekicks, but they're not all sidekicks, They're a full-fledged hero team that is capable of even bringing down the people who have mentored them.
Right.
Completely. When we talked about it, like, if you don't go see this, definitely go see Young Justice.
Yes.
Young Justice nails the whole Teen Titan bit, but they called it Young Justice because there's more than just the Teen Titans. Which I think Young Justice would, if it was an actual movie, I would have probably put that in here instead, but it's a TV show.
Yeah.
And we weren't talking about TV shows. Otherwise, the original X-Men TV show from back in the 90s would probably be my number 1.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's probably the
Classic.
greatest Marvel adaptation animation to date.
Yeah. They did a good job with that. Yeah, but anyone, as far as Young Justice, if anyone's hasn't seen that, I know we talked about it last time, but any fans of like the old animated shows like Justice League and Batman and Superman, Young Justice is not done by the same people, but it really lives up to the what you're expecting from those storylines and stuff. Is really good. And I'm so glad it's coming back.
Yes. Me too. The last season was fantastic. First season was great. And this new season is going to add even more people, which is really, really just a blessing.
Yeah.
I just hate that DC decided to go the route of their own streaming service to get more money instead of just like producing it on their end through like Netflix or something. Because I would have rather them do that. Instead of opting out into their own streaming service, they should have just opted into Netflix a bit and gotten the cut percentage from all of their stuff and let Netflix pay for it all. That's what I would have done. But I'm not a TV exec. I'm just a guy that sits here and talks to you about TV and movies.
Which we like better.
Right. All right. And my number 1, which again, this whole entire thing was because
The whole reason we did this.
Yeah. Whole reason was because I went and saw Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. That movie is probably the greatest Marvel animated movie and probably one of the greatest superhero movies animated superhero movies that I have seen ever, in my opinion. The art, the actors, the director, everybody gets those characters 100%. They know what they're doing, and they make those characters exactly who they are. The only flaw that I found in it was how they did Kingpin, in my opinion. They made him too large, almost gorilla-esque in a way, which he was not needed to be that way. But I understand why they made him that way. More intimidating and the like, because he's the main villain. But, you know, as most people don't know who haven't seen the movie or have, the story is about Miles Morales. In his universe, Peter Parker is dead. He dies before Miles Morales is able to train with him to become Spider-Man. He dies a pretty gruesome death where Kingpin breaks his back.
Oh.
Yeah. Which just within the first 15 minutes of the movie, which, you know, it's not spoiling anything. Anybody who knows what's happening in the Spider-Verse knows Miles Morales is from the universe where Spider-Man dies. So if you haven't seen it, you know, sorry, go read a comic book. But the way that they did a lot of the characters, they brought in a lot of the characters from the Spider-Verse, but like I really wish they would have brought in like a different set. Like they brought in Peter Porker, obviously. They had to bring in Spider-Ham because everybody knows Spider-Ham. They brought in Spider-Man Noir, which is fantastic, like one of the greatest Spider-Men of all time because he's more 1950s gangster, black and white noir, and they know that character so much that character in a full-colored world, and each character, mind you, each character that's in it, each Spider-Man from a different universe, is drawn differently according to their universe. So
that's cool.
Like Spider-Ham is more cartoony, like WB sort of Looney Tunes-esque.
Right, yeah.
Just like his comic is. Spider-Man Noir is black and white, never colored. And they make fun of that throughout the movie because he finds a Rubik's Cube. And he's like, I don't know what this strange box is, but I love it. That character is played by Nicolas Cage, which nails the part completely. One of the best things Nicolas Cage has probably done in years.
Yeah, that is surprising that he was actually good at that.
Right? Then they also brought in Spider-Gwen, which Gwen Stacy in the Marvel Comic Universe is in several different multi-universes, different characters, which is kind of funny. But they brought her in, Spider-Gwen from the multi-universe, and then they brought in the Peter Parker that we know and love, the one who's almost given up being Spider-Man, the one who Mary Jane left him because he couldn't focus on her, the one who's downtrodden and beat and older, and he just wants to give up, but he finds in Miles Morales what he saw in himself at the very beginning. And like, I think that character is great. It's fantastic that they decided to bring, that's how they went about it. And the actor that got to play it is great as well. The one character I wish they would have not brought in, though, was Penny Parker. I don't think they should have brought in Penny Parker. She's from the far distant future, and she brings she's an anime-style Spider-Man.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's an anime girl with a giant robot with a spider inside it.
Okay.
I would have rather than bring in the Spider Knight.
Spider Knight?
Yes. There is a Spider-Man from Middle Ages universe that's in complete armor with the Spider-Man symbol on.
That's cool.
Yeah, and he's awesome. Or they could have just brought in Spider-Man from 2099, which would have been even better. But they didn't do that. But still, the movie in itself is probably so connected in its universe to show that these people knew exactly who and what the characters are. And if you haven't seen it, I would advise you. Even if you don't go see it in theaters, watch it on DVD. If it comes to Netflix, watch it there. Just watch it sometime in your life because you'll understand more about Spider-Man and Miles Morales in that movie than you will find anywhere else.
I definitely want to watch it. Yeah, absolutely.
I would. Thank you, Zach, for
Thank
spending
you.
the time with me to do this again.
Absolutely. Hopefully you got it right this time.
Well, I mean, you can never tell with this.
Yeah.
I try to be capable, but in the end, I'm really not.
You try. That's the
Right.
important thing.
So remember, guys, if you have a genre that you want us to talk about or a movie that you want us to talk about, please leave a comment in the bottom. Hit the like button, subscribe, tell your friends, share the video. We're all here just to talk about the things that we all enjoy. and I enjoy my time with Zach, and hopefully you enjoy the time with us as well. We would love to bring in the conversation to talk about it next time. But until then, Zach, is there anything you'd like to add?
No. I still enjoy doing this, Brad. I appreciate you having me on again. Thank you.
Anytime. Remember, guys, always be kind to each other, and we will see you in the next video.
See you later, guys.